It's easily the most important event in comic book history. In 1954, a man named Dr. Frederick Wertham wrote a book called Seduction of the Innocent, and his whole purpose was to tear down the comic book industry. Now this book is super whack. He said so many crazy and outlandish things, and other psychiatrists would call him out on it and say, look, your research is extremely flawed. But it didn't matter because Wertham was able to get his articles into extremely popular magazines and in front of extremely important people. He got parents riled up, he got churches riled up, he got senators riled up. And they created a Senate hearing to determine whether or not the United States should just end the entire comic book industry before it even really got to begin. And these Senate hearings, they got mean. And people would speak up in favor of comics at these, but because Frederick Wertham was a big part of these hearings, and because the people that he got, the senators that he got to lead these hearings, were on his side, the comic book industry didn't win. And basically they had to create a way to censor themselves that was up to the government standards. Otherwise the government was going to shut down the entire industry. This resulted in the Comics Code Authority. See that stamp? If you did not have that stamp, you could not get your comic books sold. And the authority had extremely strong censorship guidelines that really held comic books back from being able to reach their full potential. It took close to 60 years. But eventually, the Comics Code Authority was dissolved. The Senate hearings were labeled as this was a mistake and this was wrong, and Frederick Wertham's work has been debunked. But we still feel all of the effects that this kind of censorship had on comic books. Which is why I say that this is the biggest and most important event in comic book history. Check out the long form video on my main channel, link in the comments.